The morning air in Eastfield Hollow had already begun to warm, thick with the hint of the Carolina sun that would soon climb over rooftops and heat the pavement. The neighborhood, a picturesque patchwork of tidy lawns and winding sidewalks, buzzed with the usual sounds: distant lawnmowers coughing to life, sprinklers hissing as they arced over hedges, car doors slamming shut as commuters headed to work. Children's voices rang out, calling to one another as they gathered at neighborhood corners for the school bus. For 7-year-old Lily Grayson, this morning ritual was a careful choreography. She emerged from her modest white frame house, gripping the handrail to descend the 3 small porch steps. Her movements were practiced, deliberate. Attached to both legs were orthopedic braces, sleek, modern constructs of metal and molded plastic. The braces gave her mobility, compensating for the effects of a rare birth defect that had made her lower legs weak and unstable. They were heavy and sometimes cumbersome, but they were her independence. She wore them with a quiet confidence that humbled those who knew her. Her father, Officer Daniel Grayson, a patrol sergeant with the State Highway Patrol, stood just out of sight behind the living room curtains. Every morning, without fail, he watched as his daughter's brightly colored backpack bobbed behind her on the short walk to the bus stop at the corner of Sycamore Lane and Birchwood Drive. The sight always filled him with a complex mix of pride and worry. Pride in her grit, her determination. Worry because the world, he knew, wasn't always kind to people who looked or moved differently. The neighborhood operated under the oversight of a homeowners association, and no one wielded the power of that HOA more zealously than its treasurer, Miriam Collins. In her early 60s, with clipped gray hair and a face perpetually pinched in judgment, Miriam saw herself not merely as a steward of the association's funds, but as a crusader against waste and entitlement. She scrutinized every line item on the HOA's budget as though rooting out corruption in a major city. Her favorite target: anything she deemed frivolous or unnecessarily costly. Recently, to Daniel's growing concern, Miriam had focused her disapproval on the bus stop near their home. It wasn't just a financial line item in her mind, it had become a symbol of what she saw as wasteful accommodations. Despite repeated explanations from the school district and multiple board meetings confirming that bus routes were managed entirely by the school system and incurred no cost to the HOA, Miriam remained unconvinced. She had convinced herself that the stop, used only by a handful of children, including Lily, represented a hidden cost to the community. Worse, Miriam seemed fixated on Lily specifically. Her visible braces, her slower gait, they embodied, in Miriam's eyes, the sort of exception she believed should not be made. Though she never said it outright, her disdain when looking at Lily was unmistakable. On this Tuesday morning, Lily made her way down the sidewalk, her pace steady but slow. At the bus stop, Miriam was already waiting. Clipboard in hand, lips pressed into a hard line, she tapped her foot on the curb as though timing the exact seconds of what she believed to be wasted community resources. The school bus appeared, a bright yellow shape easing around the corner with practiced precision. Its red warning lights blinked, and it came to a smooth stop. The doors opened with a pneumatic hiss, revealing the smiling face of Mr. Sanders, the neighborhood's beloved driver. In his late 60s, with a warm voice and a face like someone's favorite uncle, he leaned slightly toward the steps. "Morning, Lily," he called with a smile. "Ready to tackle another big day? Take your time now, you're doing great." "Morning, Mr. Sanders," Lily replied shyly. She hoisted her backpack higher on her shoulders, grasped the metal handrail, and carefully placed her left foot on the first step. She steadied herself, then moved her right foot to join it, pausing for balance. Then came a voice sharp and angry. "Stop right there." The shout was so sudden, so jarring, that Lily startled, her fingers slipping slightly on the handrail. Miriam had moved forward, fast for her age, and now stood at the edge of the bus stairs, her face twisted in righteous fury. "This stop is unauthorized," she snapped. "I told you, driver, this pickup isn't approved. The HOA isn't paying for this kind of nonsense." "Mr. Sanders opened his mouth to respond, but he never got the chance. Miriam reached forward suddenly, her hand snatching the nylon straps of Lily's backpack. With a force that defied her stature, she yanked. Lily screamed. She was pulled backward, her fragile balance destroyed in an instant. Her braced leg caught on the metal edge of the stair, and she tumbled off the bus entirely. She landed hard on the curb. A sharp metallic clang rang out as the frame of her left brace slammed against the concrete, bending with a sickening crunch. Lily sobbed, clutching her leg. Pain shot through her like fire. Her tears came fast, shock, confusion, agony all at once. "What are you doing, mister?" Sanders exploded, leaping from his seat. "You can't touch her. You assaulted that child." Miriam stood over Lily, clutching her clipboard like a shield. "I am enforcing the rules," she said, her voice high and brittle. "This is not an approved pickup point. The association does not pay for these special services. This it's a misuse of community resources." "She broke my brace," Lily sobbed. "I can't stand. It hurts. Mister." Sanders turned back to the bus radio, his hands shaking with rage. "Dispatch, this is Bus 12. I need immediate police response. I have a student injured at Sycamore and Birchwood. Female suspect, adult, white, about 60s. Name's Miriam Collins. She pulled the child off the bus steps. The child's medical brace is damaged. We may need EMS." Back at the Grayson home, Daniel's patrol unit radio crackled with the dispatch code. He heard the words Eastfield Hollow School, bus minor injured suspect Collins. The names. The location. It hit him like a punch to the chest. "Unit 311 responding, code 3, he said, his voice controlled but deadly cold. "ETA 3 minutes. He flipped on his sirens and lights and tore through traffic, his years of training allowing his body to function while his heart tried to contain a storm of fury and fear. When he arrived, the sight confirmed his worst nightmare. The school bus was parked askew, red lights flashing. A crowd had gathered. Lily sat on the curb, crying, her braces visibly damaged. "Mister." Sanders knelt beside her, and Miriam Collins stood to the side, face flushed, still clutching her clipboard. Daniel approached Lily first. "Hey, sweetheart," he said softly, kneeling beside her. "Daddy's here. You're okay. Tell me what hurts." She pointed to her leg. "She yanked me. My brace is broken. I fell." "Mister." Sanders filled in the rest. "She grabbed her. Just yanked her right off. I couldn't believe it. It was deliberate. Not an accident." Daniel's expression didn't change, but his eyes hardened. He turned toward Miriam, who now began to speak. "Officer, thank God you're here. I was just trying to protect the community from an unauthorized—" "Ma'am." Daniel cut her off sharply. "You're under investigation for assaulting a minor. We have multiple witnesses, and this bus has internal video recording." "Does it?" "Yes, sir, mister." Sanders confirmed. "Dash cam and stairwell cam." "Let me see it." He followed Mr. Sanders onto the bus. Within moments, the touchscreen monitor played back the video. Daniel watched as his daughter, cautious and brave, climbed the steps. He watched Miriam appear, shouting, and then he watched her hand reach in, grab, and pull. He didn't react outwardly, but inside, a dam broke. He turned back to Miriam, who still stood self-righteously. "You're under arrest for felony child abuse, assault, and interference with school transportation," he said calmly. Miriam's jaw dropped. "What? Are you insane? I was protecting the community's budget." Daniel read her Miranda rights as he placed her in cuffs. She screamed about her authority, her title, her rights. None of it mattered. An ambulance arrived to tend to Lily. Her brace was ruined, and the impact had caused deep bruising and swelling. She would need immediate orthopedic care, possibly a replacement brace costing thousands. Daniel called his wife, Jordan, who rushed to meet them at the hospital. The investigation uncovered damning facts. Miriam had likely removed the SD card from the bus recorder during the confusion. She denied it, but the evidence was gone. Without that footage, the prosecution's case became harder. Daniel and Jordan filed a civil suit. Not just against Miriam, but against the HOA itself. The suit claimed the board had empowered her, ignored complaints, and failed to limit her authority. Damages included medical costs, emotional trauma, and punitive compensation. Miriam's criminal trial became the talk of the state. In court, the missing SD card nearly cost the case. But then came the miracle redundant cloud footage. The bus, part of a new safety initiative, had auto-uploaded video when the driver hit the emergency switch. It had everything: the assault, the fall, the tirade. But even that wasn't the final blow. Lily's orthopedic braces were equipped with sensor-smart technology that logged motion and impact. The data showed an unnatural force had struck the brace at exactly the time of the incident. Expert testimony proved it couldn't have been a trip. It was a pull, a violent, external force. The jury deliberated less than an hour. Guilty. Miriam Collins was sentenced to 7 years. Her house and assets were seized to help pay the multi-million-dollar civil settlement. The HOA, facing bankruptcy, was forced to restructure with new bylaws, mandatory training, and a public apology. Lily received a new set of braces. A trust was established for future care. And each morning, she still made that walk stronger, braver, proud. Daniel continued his patrols. But every time he passed a school bus, he remembered his daughter, that corner, and the lesson that justice, sometimes, needs no badge, only the courage to stand. And thanks to a cloud server, a smart brace, and a father who would not bend, justice did.